But first, next week's budget is set to take a chainsaw to childcare bills. It's a major reform that has taken years of lobbying from economists, social welfare advocates and the majority of industry and commerce groups around the country. It's now set to be one of the jewels in the government's fiscal crown, which they are now furiously polishing ahead of an election. But politics aside, this is a major and welcome reform in order to help get mums back into work and also give working families around Australia a much-needed $1.7 billion boost. I caught up earlier with the Minister for Superannuation, Financial Services and the Digital Economy, Jane Hume, who is also the newly minted Minister for Women's Economic Security. Is this the first of many significant changes we're going to see from the new Women's Task Force?
Well, I think this is a very exciting announcement today because we know that the best way to encourage women to participate more fully in the workforce is to remove those barriers that are placed before us. And one of the biggest barriers that's been cited is the cost of childcare. In fact, the Business Council of Australia said that 90,000 people last year cited childcare costs as the reason why they hadn't returned to the workforce. So the announcement today, which will reduce the cost of childcare as well as remove some of those disincentives to women taking on more hours or taking on more days, really is good news.
Absolutely. And what about things like after school care, out of school care? Will allowances be made for services like that also?
Well, the announcement today is really about second and subsequent children and for those people that have children under the age of 5 that are in childcare. We know that when you have more than one child in particular, the cost and the complexity of childcare goes up quite significantly, and I can speak from experience there. At one stage I had 3 children under the age of 5 and relied very heavily on childcare. So this measure today, that's announced today, really targets those families, the ones that are working and particularly those that are on low and middle incomes.
Indeed. So hopefully we could see some announcements around those, I guess, when we move forward and see how it sort of rolls out in the next couple of years. But I guess we are sort of heading into election campaign territory, probably more unofficial than official at this point in time. Are you concerned, or are the government concerned, that packages like this may alienate some of the electorate, like older Australians?
Oh, not at all. In fact, older Australians will benefit from this package. You know, we know that of women that are working with children under the age of 2, about a third of them rely on grandparents to help them with informal childcare. And a significant number too rely on grandparents solely for their childcare. So by making childcare more accessible and more affordable, you're not just helping women that have children right now, you're also helping that older generation of women have their opportunity to get back into the workforce as well. The aim of this package really is about providing Australian women with more choices and more chances to secure their own economic future and to participate fully in the workforce.
Indeed. So when you did meet with the Prime Minister for the first time as the Women's Workforce and Task Force kicked off, was this one of the biggest issues that you all sort of thrashed around the table, the boardroom table there?
Oh, well, certainly it's been identified as one of the great barriers to women's economic, workforce participation. Childcare, and there are a number of other barriers too. Some of them are societal norms, but some of them are policy-driven as well. So the trick, of course, is to pull those levers that government has some control over to allow women more opportunities to get back into the workforce and to secure their own economic future.
What are you hearing from your constituents out in the community about when you talk about your new role as the Minister for Women's Financial Security? What are you hearing that they want?
I think that they're quite inspired by the idea that we've identified that a Minister for Women can do some great things, but there are certain aspects of the task force, including economic security and also women's safety, that require extra attention. And they like the idea that the government is turning its mind now to those particular issues to allow women to participate fully in Australian society and not necessarily be marginalised by policy choices that are made.
Great. Look, I guess in your other portfolio, superannuation and the lifting of that guarantee rate is a hot topic in this climate, given stagnant wage growth. Where do you sit on raising the compulsory rate again after July 1?
Well, I'm not going to speculate on what may or may not be in the budget, and it's in a budget announcement. But what I can say is that our superannuation system is robust and sustainable. That the retirement income review confirmed that. It also confirmed, though, that there is a trade-off. That when the superannuation guarantee goes up, it does have an effect on wages growth, and it does potentially have an effect on jobs growth as well. And of course, the frustrating thing for government is that everything the Morrison government has been doing has been about creating more jobs and getting higher wages. Of course, the superannuation guarantee rise was a commitment that was made many years ago, 6 years ago now, and we took that to the election. So, it's put the government in a difficult position, but it is something that we have committed to.
Right. Finally, Senator, your colleague Amanda Stoker has been relegated to the third spot on Queensland's Senate ticket over the weekend. Given she's now an assistant minister and a seamlessly tireless campaigner for the coalition, what do you make of this decision by the Queensland LNP?
I love working with Amanda Stoker on the Women's Task Force. She really does make a significant contribution. She has a fantastic policy mind, and she's very articulate and outspoken about issues that she's passionate about and that are important to her and that are important to all Australian women. The decision for pre-selections, though, is always going to be a matter for the party itself, the Queensland LNP and the membership there. I don't think we should probably read too much into it. I know that Amanda is a passionate advocate for Australian women and for Australians more broadly, and she'll have awful lot more to contribute through the Women's Task Force and also for many, many years to come.
Do you not think that it appears that the LNP in that state have learnt nothing from the recent push, specifically by the Prime Minister, to increase female representation? Well, she's still a representative here, and I'm sure she will continue to be for she's very young, decades to come, which is terrific. I don't think we should read too much into it. The Liberal Party, one of the joys of being a Liberal is it's a very grassroots organisation, and pre-selections and being able to participate in that pre-selection process is one of the great privileges of being a Liberal. And I know that the Queensland LNP deliberated over their pre-selection decisions appropriately, and I congratulate Senator McGrath and also Senator Canavan and Senator Stoker, because they're fine candidates, all of them, and great colleagues to work with. There will be a ticket open with the House of Reps in the Queensland electorate. Do you think that she could make the jump to the lower house? Oh, Amanda's extraordinarily capable, but I like working with her in the Senate, so I'd like her to stay there. Absolutely. Senator Jane Hume, thank you so very much for joining us on the program. Great to be with you, Jenna.